but I can't see your video now. Can you see your own video?
I can see my video, yes.
That's fine then, because that we will see. Uh, so, hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
So, good evening to everyone present here. I am Dr. Rajkumar Arya, Associate Professor, Department of Chemical Engineering, NIT Jalandhar. So, I welcome you all to the third day of this STC, and today is our sixth session, and expert Professor Rajiv Mehta. So, so he will talk on plastic waste and its management. And let me introduce Professor Mehta to everyone present here. So we have MSS Dr. Rajiv Mehta, former head and professor at the Department of Chemical Engineering, Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, Patiala. Prior to joining to TIET Patiala, Dr. Mehta was associated with National Chemical Laboratory Pune as a scientist and Cosmo Film Limited and the Serum Institute of Industrial Research in several capacities. He was also the visiting scientist with the US Air Force Material Laboratory at Ohio, USA for 4 years. On the educational front, Professor Rajiv Mehta completed his PhD on modeling and simulation of polylactic acid polymerization from Thapar University in year 2006. Earlier, Dr. Mehta completed his MS Chemical Engineering from Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University and BTech from IIT Delhi. Dr. Mehta has 71 referred journal publications to his credit, 4 encyclopedia chapters, 54 conference papers and presentations. He has guided PhD scholars and 28 master's students. Dr. Mehta's contribution in the area of polymers has been recognized by many awards, including an award given for the best innovative young researchers at the 4th International Conference on Nanoscience and Nanotechnology, ICONN 2007 at SRM University in the year 2017. Dr. Rajiv Mehta was also conferred the Gold Trophy for the best research in polymer science and technology and engineering by Plast India Foundation in the year 2018. Earlier in 2015, he jointly received the 5th National Award for the technology innovation in petrochemicals and downstream plastic processing industry, given by Ministry of Fertilizers and Chemicals for his research in chemical fixation of carbon dioxide and polypropylene oxide to polypropylene carbonate and cyclic carbonate. It is worth mentioning that Professor Mehta has have been appointed as the coordinator for the $2 million facilities for the Material Research Center of Excellence in Emerging Materials CEEMS at TIET in collaboration with Virginia Tech USA in October 2019. He is the life members of the several organizations like including Indian Plastic Institute, Polymer Association, Punjab Science Congress, Indian Society for Technical Education, Meteorology Society of India, Indian Institute of Chemical Engineers, senior members of AICHE since 2014. So with this short introduction, I invite Professor Mehta to conduct the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Arre, for a very nice introduction.
Welcome, sir.
I have been associated with polymers for most of my career since my MTech, and more than 25 years now. And I had the opportunity to work in so many different facets of polymer science and engineering. May not always be by choice, just the way things turn out. But today I'm going to talk about plastic waste and how do we manage it. It has become almost like a top problem in all over the world. How to manage the plastic waste. It's something so useful and so enduring. It doesn't break down easily, So that has become a problem. The things because of which it became famous and used, that has ultimately become a problem. So let me start my presentation, plastic waste and its management. Sustainability, we keep hearing about this word sustainability. How does that relate to plastic waste management? If you do not do anything substantial to reduce our use of natural resources and waste management, the earth is predicted to have an expiry date of 50 years. So expiry date of 50 years for earth. This is forecasted by World Wildlife Fund, a prestigious organization. At the forefront is the plastic pollution. At the present rate, the oceans will have more plastic than fish by volume by 2050. You might have come across this statement. It was in the news for some time. Initially, it came out in the Science magazine. So, more plastic than fish in the oceans in another few years, few decades. And the goal of plastic waste management, how do we manage it? Main goal is primarily to reduce the requirement of virgin plastics, which is currently at about 100 million tons, by utilizing waste plastics, recycling them and so many other approaches. And this approach helps to conserve resources and diverts plastics from landfills or unintended destinations such as oceans. So one of the main elements of plastic waste management is that you reuse the plastic which has been thrown out or already used. That is not a 100% solution to the problems, but it offers a significant solution. So today's presentation, my outline is like this. I will introduce with some facts. Then I'll talk about plastic waste. What is it? What is plastic waste? What are types of plastic waste? What are sources of plastic waste? Environmental issues on disposal of plastic waste. Then commonly recycled plastics. Then I'm going to talk about plastic waste management. How can we manage plastic waste? And I will conclude the session by how plastic waste management is done in India as of today. So, introduction and some facts. I'm sure all of you know what plastic is, but I've taken the liberty to just define it here. Plastics or more broader polymers, they are macromolecules formed by polymerization reaction and having the ability to be shaped by application of reasonable amount of heat and or pressure. Mostly it is heat. So I have shown the polymerization reaction here. A low molecular weight monomer, let us say ethylene, C2H4. Under catalyzed heat pressure become a polymer, high molecular weight polymer. Let us say polyethylene or LDP, low density polyethylene. Just to give you a very initial idea. So this is how we get our polymers. Now, There are different ways you can classify polymers. So many, depending on source, depending on mechanical properties, depending on degradability and so on. But for the purpose of waste management or recycling, it is useful to define them in two ways: thermoplastic and thermosets. Thermoplastic polymers are those materials that can be formed into desired shapes under heat and pressure, and they become solid on cooling. So basically you melt it, shape it, cool it. Examples are polyethylene, polystyrene, PVC, polyvinyl chloride. And on the other hand, thermosetting materials are those polymers which once shaped cannot be softened or remolded by the application of heat. So they are set. Thermosetting materials are set. Examples are phenol formaldehyde and urea formaldehyde. There are hundreds of examples of both types. The way we manage or recycle or waste management is done is very different for thermoplastics and thermosets. This is slightly old data, but it does serve a purpose. Sources of waste. You might have wondered, our municipal solid waste, what does it consist of in cities? So this is one diagram in which you can see, here you can see plastics number 3, 17% by weight. So it's a substantial constituent of the municipal solid waste. Number 1 is paper and cardboard, and number 2 are biodegradable stuff, organics and food waste and other things. Okay, so what is the problem? Let's define the problem. 20 times more plastic is produced today than it was produced 50 years back. That is 200%. 2000%. World's annual consumption of plastic materials has increased from around 5 million tons in 1950s to nearly 100 million tons in 2016. And another 4 years have gone by, so you can imagine it to be much higher. What this tells us is that more resources are being used to meet the increasing demand of plastic in our society. And more importantly, more plastic waste naturally is being generated, which is finding ways into our cities, our landfills, our water bodies, our human bodies and animal bodies. Due to lack of an integrated solid waste system, most of the plastic waste is neither collected properly nor disposed of in an appropriate manner to prevent its negative impacts on the environment and public health. Okay. So you see, even the landfills are very visible symbols. If you go to Delhi on the GT road, before you enter Delhi, after you enter Delhi, you see this huge landfill on the left side. And one can easily guess its ill effects on health, groundwater, and the people working on it. So on the other hand, our plastic waste recycling can provide the solution in most environmental friendly way, in an economically viable way, as it generates resources of significant value. You see, all waste, like it said, are the resource in a wrong place. Likewise, plastic waste is a resource in a wrong place and it can be used in a economically viable way. And some of the developed countries have already established large scale commercial level resource recovery from waste plastics. So what are the environmental issues on disposal of waste plastic, on plastic waste? Let us look at some of the pictures. It's not a very pretty sight, but unfortunately neither is the problem. So you see on the top side, plastic pollutes beaches and oceans. And if you stop cleaning a beach, this is what it turns into over a period of time. Second picture shows, set of pictures shows plastic litter in landscape on the land. And you can see very poor, bad pictures. And
Excuse me, sir.
unfortunately, yes, Dr. Arif.
Yeah, actually, I would say on beaches we get a lot of waste actually, but I have the noticed one thing there very carefully, that all these water bodies throw out the waste to the corner. So somehow if we can put a trapper at least on the banks actually, on the seashores, we can probably collect most of this garbage actually, but we also don't care that part also.
That, Dr. Arif, that's the excellent suggestion. And in fact, in some countries, what they are doing right now, you see the sewage pipes, several meters in diameter, they are discharging into the sea
Hmm.
or in a water body which you take it to the sea, oceans. So what they are doing is they are simply putting like a back filter.
Okay.
You see, filtering out water and big plastic components should be very easy.
Right.
Exactly what you are suggesting, that is being tried in a number of places now, and that has been found to be very, very effective. Very simple and very effective.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go on. So another third point, plastic bags kill animals. You might have seen some of these pictures. And even closer to home, nearer to home, the milk which we drink from the cows and buffaloes, unfortunately, they eat a lot of plastic bags. And you can well
Right.
imagine what milk we drink and the condition of poor animals. And the fourth is burning of
Actually,
plastic generating
yeah.
toxic fumes.
Actually, I want to add in this actually, because one time I heard that one cow was died only because of this plastic. Not only one, many, but when they did the postmortem of that cow, they found nearly 100 kg of plastic inside the stomach
Oh
actually.
my God. Yeah, it's terrible.
Because it cannot be digested, and moreover it is not easy to pass on actually.
Yes,
So biggest
that is
problem actually.
that is true. Unfortunately true. So, a lot of people do easy way is burn them. Even tires are also plastic. Rubber is a plastic macromolecule. So if you burn plastic, it will generate a lot of toxic fumes, very unfavorable to the environment. So that is not an environmental friendly solution at all. So what are the different ways we can manage this plastic waste, which is so horrendous? Like I said, waste is a resource in a wrong place. So it's a resource in a wrong place. So it has to be taken to the right place. Uh, Industrial solid waste management principles will also apply to plastic waste management, and they are three R's, capital R: reduce, reuse, and recycle principle. You reduce the consumption, you reuse it after using it once, and you recycle it after you have thrown it away. These are the three cardinal principles of all waste management techniques. So just slightly. So I have shown three pictures here of grocery bags. On the left, we have a paper bag. In the middle, I think it's a cloth bag, HDP or some plastic bag. And on the right hand side, it's the old our grandma's bag, ubiquitous grandma bag. So I'm asking a question, which is better and which one you should use. So right answer is the one on the right, extreme right. Because you can just use it n number of times just by simply washing it, and you are not contributing to any waste in any form. Okay, waste management strategies. This is a pyramid. On the lowest most, and it goes from least favored option from the base to the most favored waste management strategy option to the on the top. You can see from the top you have prevention. Prevention is you prevent its use completely. Then reduction or reduce, reuse, recycle, in that order. Then you recover energy from it by burning it or by pyrolysis. And the bottommost least favored waste management approach is you dispose it off in a landfill, throw it away. So that's the least desirable, and 3 R's and prevention is the most desirable strategy. So this I have drawn actually this slide. Plastic waste management, there are two concepts. One is the conventional technology being used at present, and second is the new technology which are being researched and put into practice either now or in a very recent past. So in the conventional technology, plastic waste management is done by recycling. You see, you melt the polyethylene bag and make something else out of it. Second is incineration. You burn it in presence of air or oxygen. And third is landfilling. Landfilling is like you have a site where you keep dumping all your waste. New technology which I will briefly discuss in today's presentation. You can have liquid fuels from the plastic waste. You can have polymer or plastic waste blended bitumen roads, pavements. And third, you can co-processing in the cement industry, cement kilns, as a part of cement. So conventional technology, what are these? First I told you was plastic recycling. Plastic recycling refers to the process of recovering waste or scrap plastic and reprocessing it into some other useful products. So what are the common recycled plastics? I have given a list of 6 plastics. You can see within the triangles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And below each is the name of that plastic. Number 1 is polyethylene terephthalate, PET. Then high density polyethylene, polyvinyl chloride, low density polyethylene, propylene and polystyrene. And it is interesting that all of these are what constitutes the commodity plastics. Commodity plastics are those which are used, in millions of tons per year, each one of them, used in a very big way. So all these 6 constituents of plastic waste, they are given a number 1 to 6. Can you guess why this coding system is in place? Think for a minute. It is there because when you want to recycle the plastic, when you are picking up your plastic waste from roads, from roadsides, ponds and etc., it is very useful if you know what type of plastic waste that is. It is made of which plastic. That will help you in segregation of plastic in very big way. That is why this plastic coding system came into being few decades back. So these are commonly recycled plastics, all 6 of these. So what are the stages in plastic recycling? There are 5 stages. First, you have to sort it out. Polyethylene terephthalate articles in one place, polystyrene railway teacups in another category set. So you sort it out. It is possible that you may not be able to sort it out economically. Then that waste is called co-mingled waste, and that also can be used to generate some value addition articles. After you have sorted out or taken up a co-mingled waste, then you do washing. Washing will remove a lot of things, lot of impurities, lot of dust, lot of things. After you have washed it and you have dried it, Then you do shredding. You know, your plastic waste might be 4 inches long or maybe 2 feet long. So you shred it into small pellets, small pieces. You use these pellets after testing and everything in a extruder. You remelt those pellets, force it through a die of the you have to make and get that component after cooling that extrudate. So here I have shown this extruder on the left side. So what you are doing, you are taking a plastic waste which is a thermoplastic which will melt. You are melting it, cutting it, melting it and reshaping it. Right? So this extruder can give you master batches like the one on the right, colorful granules, which of course you can use for making useful products. So plastic recycled granules or flakes applications. You see box trapping, twine is a rope, a kind of a twined rope, intertwined rope, Versati film, garbage bags. These are some of the low value items which are normally almost always made from recycled plastics. So what is the catch? You cannot do that indefinitely. Suppose after recycling plastic bag, you make a rope. After rope, discarding rope, you again melt it and make something else. But you cannot do n number of times. Why not? I will listen why value addition goes down by the number of times you recycle that plastic component. Main is degradation. Every time you melt it under heat and pressure, you are going to break a lot of bonds of these long chain of molecules, which is called degradation. So you are going to reduce the molecular weight, which in turn reduces a lot of properties, including the mechanical strength. Then the more recycling you do, number of times, the more impurity you introduce in your plastic. And more additives also you introduce in your plastic. Every time you make some part for some particular application, the additives used will remain inside that plastic. So and so on. That was recycling. First conventional technology. Second conventional technology is landfilling. Landfill is a conventional approach to waste management. But space for landfills is becoming scarce in most of the countries, not in some countries. See, over decades we have managed to fill in most of the spaces which we could find. In a landfill, as waste breakdown, methane is generated, CH4, natural gas. This gas can be recovered and used to generate some amount of electricity. Plastic waste creates an eternal problem, as plastic products synthesized from petroleum are not at all degradable, biodegradable. They will last for hundreds, thousands of years. So for this reason, plastic waste remains in landfills without breaking down or changing composition. Okay, so that was landfill. Third conventional technology is you burn it, incineration. Incineration reduces the need for landfill of plastic waste. However, there are serious concerns that hazardous substances may be released into the atmosphere in the process. Well, it's not may, they are in fact released. There are incineration plants, and incineration can be used with recovery of some of the energy contained in the plastic. You see, if you burn plastic, you are going to get heat. So you can utilize that energy, heat energy. On the picture, I have shown you one incineration plant, and I don't know if you can see this box, rectangular white, that waste, plastic waste has been compressed into that box, and it is being transported to the incineration chamber. This is again not a very pretty picture. This is inside of an incineration plant. Everything is mechanized, and So again, this is trash is used to produce heat and electricity in high temperature furnaces. And this is the outside of a incineration plant in Detroit, Michigan, USA. So you might have seen the how much different it is inside and outside. Uh, okay, just I included this slide. Then how do you dispose it off? The cargo ship with some name loaded with incinerator ash. You see, when you incinerate it, you burn it, that's not the end of it. You're not only ejecting gases in the environment, you're also having a lot of ash. So, which is, may not be very, safe. So, this fellow is transporting incineration ash from Philadelphia on this ship to somewhere else, where you can dispose it off at very low price. So this is being approached by a boat carrying members of the American Bureau of Shipping as it lies at anchor of Big Stone at Delaware. So some time back, even in India, we used to hear this, that a ship is coming to Gujarat and dumping its waste by, maybe bribing or some other way. Uh, and now I don't think it happens in India, but there are plenty of countries in the world, African countries and so on, where still people get away with doing this very wrong practice. Okay, this is a Wandre garbage float. This is a floating ship. A barge filled with garbage similar to this barge traveled from New York to Mexico. This is an old picture looking for a place to dispose of its cargo. This practice of shipping unwanted garbage to other countries continues today throughout the world even today. Okay, so when on these three technologies, conventional technologies, some comments. When the plastics are disposed of to landfill, sewage, marine water, they do not degrade or biodegrade. Incineration is not successful for plastic waste on a big scale nowadays because of environmental concerns. Eco-friendly as an alternative is required, the plastic have to be regarded as resources to be reused or recycled or biodegraded at the end of their service life in order to mitigate their negative environmental impact. So if you notice here, I am talking about biodegradable polymers now. They are touted as a very safe alternative and a big part of the future of plastics. And examples of biodegradable plastics, it's a long list. This is just a small list, representative list. I will not go over this entire table. I will just tell you about the highlighted polylactic acid PLA. This biodegradable plastic is coming in a big way. You see, it's interesting. I don't know whether you are aware, but after 1950s, there has been no major commodity polymer introduced in the world market. After 1950s, this is a staggering, piece of information. And now, about 10 years back, it started, 10, 15 years back, PLA is coming as a next commodity polymer as its cost goes down, as the consumption goes up. And it is still expensive compared to conventional plastic, but it is totally degradable. You put it in water, hydrolytically it will degrade, molecules will break into harmless lactic acid. So that is biodegradable plastics. Okay, briefly let me talk about three non-traditional technologies. First is construction of polymer or plastics, coated bitumen road. This often comes in newspapers also, that we have made a few kilometers of road using plastic waste as one of the components in the bitumen. And it is so interesting that these roads have much better performance than a normal road without plastics. So plastic waste for making roads. In India, more than 1 lakh kilometer of roads using discarded plastic have already been built in at least 11 states. So it is taking off in a big way. And this is a very good solution, because once you put plastic waste in the road, it doesn't go anywhere. It will be there for very long time. So it will not enter the groundwater or oceans or anywhere else. And since 2015, it is mandatory to do so. That is, add some plastic waste component. These roads made from waste plastic are more durable against extreme weather conditions like floods, heat, as compared to conventional roads, and there are no potholes or cracks. So this is a godsend, opportunity or technology for our country, where the potholes or cracks in the roads are, almost ubiquitous, especially as you move out in the rural areas. Using plastic waste can help India, which has the world's second largest road network, in curbing road accidents deaths. Potholes, a common feature of roads in India, are responsible for 1/10 of deaths that occurred in 2017 due to road accidents. So this is something very nice for us. Very briefly, process is: you collect the plastic waste, segregate, store. You clean it up, wash it, and dry it. Like earlier recycling, I told you, similar initial steps. Then you shred the plastic waste into the required size, 2 to 4 millimeter granules, or in industry parlance, it's called dana in Hindi. Then you heat up your stone aggregates, granite, ceramic, around to some temperature. Mix 5 to 10% of the plastic shredded waste to the heated stone aggregate for less than a minute. Mix it, and then this coated aggregate coated with plastic, is mixed with hot bitumen at a high temperature, and then it is used as a normal bitumen to lay the roads. Right? It seems so simple. Everything is same as before except the step, 4th step, 5th step, and 6th step. So fundamentally they are very simple steps, almost very similar to plastic recycling steps. Okay, second non-traditional technology is co-processing in cement kilns and cement composites. So co-processing of plastic waste as an alternative fuel and raw material. These are two different things: alternative fuel and raw material. Co-processing indicates substitution of primary fuel and raw material by plastic waste. And beauty of this is that plastic waste used is mainly non-recyclable. What plastic waste is non-recyclable? If you remember, in the beginning I told you there are classified polymers in two ways: thermoplastic, which melt, and thermosets, which do not melt. So the ones which do not melt, thermosets, they are non-recyclable plastics. So you can use a lot of them. They are difficult to get value from them other than burning them. So they are used in the cement industry as a primary fuel and as a raw material. So primary fuel means you incinerate it, burn it, get heat out of it, and raw material is you add it as an additive to the cement. And after burning it, you get ash. See, always the ash is a problem. Remember the ash carrying ship I showed you floating around? The ash can be used as a filler in cement production. Ash itself also can be used in cement production as a filler. Just like in power plants we use fly ash in cement production, this ash in the cement industry can also be used for as an additive. Now I remember I told you co-processing and cement composites. These are two different things. Composites is like a blend. So the sand in the cement concrete, it typically comprises 30% of any concrete mixture. By replacing 10% of this sand with finely ground plastic particles. There is a very recent study in UK 2018, and it estimates that if you do that, replace 10% of the sand by plastic particles recycled, that over 800 million tons of sand could be used. So this has huge ramifications. And in our country, I think we can get rid of sand mafia and all those guys. And so this is a composite, waste plastic in cement composites. Last non-traditional technology I would like to mention is the liquid fuels. So when you incinerate the plastic, you are burning it in presence of oxygen or air. What happens if you heat plastic or plastic waste in an inert atmosphere or in absence of oxygen or air? What will happen? You will end up with a lot of fuels. This is very interesting. So what is required? Conversion of plastic waste into liquid fuels. The entire process is undertaken in a closed reactor vessel, followed by condensation if required. Condensation of the vapors, hydrocarbon vapors. Waste plastics, when heating up to temperature of 700 to 1000 degrees Celsius in an inert atmosphere, that is important, convert into liquid vapor state, which is collected in a condensation chamber in the form of liquid fuels. What happens actually is, this is called pyrolysis. When you do pyrolysis, waste plastic is nothing but hydrocarbons. In absence of air, if you heat hydrocarbons, what will happen? Which they will soften in case of thermoplastic, then they will melt in case of thermoplastics, then they will degrade in case of thermoplastic or thermosets. If you further increase the temperature, it will carbonize. It will turn into liquid fuel, it will turn into solid char, and it will give you a lot of gases. All the three components can be used as a fuel, right? In the liquid, you can distill it out and you can get kerosene, petrol, and other components. The gases, you can burn them as it is, or you can condense a lot of them into liquid fuels. And the charry product you get at the bottom of the chamber of your reactor, it can be used for burning in the same plant. One thing I would like to say, you see, there are often you might have come across tires. You burn tires, pyrolyze tires, and get fuel. And they sell small units for 10 crore rupees or 15 crore rupees, and you can get a small unit made from some let me not name the country, and you can get on with it. The problem is it is all very risky. Everywhere you have components which can burn almost spontaneously. Anyway, that was a side comment. So this is the conversion of plastic waste into liquid fuel. So this diagram illustrates the chain from the waste collection on the top left, waste collection to the plant, pyrolysis plant, then it is heated, processed and converted into fuel for automobiles and different other components, gas and electricity. Electricity is you burn the components and you get not all the components. Because if you're burning all the components, there's no need for making all those changes, pyrolysis, carrying out the process. You could have burned the waste plastic itself. But when I say burn the product in the pyrolysis plant, I mean the components which are almost solid-like. Few percentage by weight of the plastic waste. Just like you have coke in the petroleum refining in VDU, ADU at the bottom. You can either you can burn it, or maybe you can break it down into smaller fractions. So this is the last segment of my presentation. Briefly, I will conclude. Plastic waste management in India. You might want to, this is interesting. In 1996, consumption of plastic was 61,000 tons per year. And you can see how rapidly it has been increasing. For environmental may not be very good, but for business it was very good. In 2018, it is about 165 lakhs tons. Okay, there might be some typo here. Anyway, my idea was that it has really leaped, to a very big number now. And what is worse is that 43% of India's plastic waste, plastics are used in packaging, and worse, those things are single-use plastic. That is, you use and throw. They are the most, the culprits which have to be tackled first. So some facts about India. MSW, municipal solid waste in India, contains 1 to 4% by waste of plastic waste. And this is very interesting. Plastic waste is recycled in India in an unorganized way to the extent of the 60% of the plastic waste collected and segregated gets recycled back into new materials. This 60% figure is the highest in the world. And unfortunately, we should not be very proud of this figure, because it is the small kids who are actually, doing the rag picking, either from a landfill or from the streets or from the garbage dumps. So like I said, India rate of recycling plastic waste highest in the world, 60%, as compared to other countries. You can see here China 10, Europe 7, Japan 12, South Africa 16, and USA 10% recycling. Okay, let me just come to my conclusions and recommendations. Plastics have pervaded all walks of life. Everywhere we go, morning to night, we will come across plastic. The plastic volume and complexity of plastic waste is rising, I will not say exponentially, but in a very steep manner. Problem is, the non-biodegradable nature of most of the plastics is creating serious environmental problems. So, solution-wise, first we must accept that there is a problem. You see, unless you accept there is a problem, you will never find a solution. And then together as a society, we all are responsible. We should take joint responsibility for the same, for this problem. So what should we do? Different components, industry, which are making plastic components, government, society, or users, individuals. We should do these. First, lifestyle changes. Remember the grandma bag I had shown to you, made of cloth? So that is one of the lifestyle changes. The 3 R's I had mentioned: reduction at source, recycling. Reduction at source, now the can which is the bottle in which Coca-Cola or soft drinks are sold, they are made of, a lot less plastic than it was in 1960s or 70s. So that is called reduction at source. You get the job done and you use less. Then recycling and resource recovery are essential. Then there is a strong need to promote use of degradable plastics. I think this has not been addressed. This has not, people are not putting sufficient amount of research funding, and the price of degradable plastic has still not come down to acceptable levels. So we need to decide that pure economic conditions may not be the binding conditions for developing degradable plastics. Then percentage of single-use plastics need to come down. There has to be a favorable government policies. Recently, few months back, more than a year back, there was a policy on single-use plastic, favorable policy. We should gradually phase out non-recyclable plastics. If this was a class, I would have asked my students what polymers are non-recyclable, like I mentioned earlier. They are the thermosets. Then plastic solution, future solution also, we can use it in roads and construction activities, infrastructure activities, and government and industry should invest more in research and development of new, multifunctional and readily degradable polymers or plastics. Lastly, I would like to give my special thanks and regards to my mentor, Professor S.N. Upadhyay from IIT BHU, and various sources from the internet from which I liberally borrowed. And plastic waste management in India, there was a very nice article by Dr. Sikka from Department of DST, Government of India. Thank you very much. And any questions if you have, I will be very happy to answer.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Dr. Arya.
No, sir, I am student.
Okay. Yes.
Sir, my question to you is that plastic waste is to use for the construction or roads, but the process, just like heating of this plastic against produce emission of gas like carbon monoxide, etc. So it will not beneficial for environment. So
No. You don't get carbon dioxide when you recycle thermoplastic waste to make roads or for any other thing. You see, what you do is you shred it into small parts after cleaning and all those steps. Then you melt it at a temperature. It will become soft and it will form an integral part of the bitumen and the gravel used for the road construction. And it will remain there. During processing, no gases have come off.
okay.
CO2 comes off and you burn it,
Okay.
incinerate it.
Typically, I shown where the road construction is there, so that's why I have the query.
No, that's fine. But your thing is very true when you want to incinerate it, when you burn it.
Okay, sir.
Right. Yeah. Any other query or question or comment?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Dr. Arre.
No, sir. Again, I am a student.
Okay. Sorry. Why is sounding like?
Sir,
Right.
I have read somewhere that the decomposition of plastic require so much time, just like 350, 400 years. So, is there any method that decompose the plastic? Uh,
Yeah. I talked about one of these methods, pyrolysis.
yes, sir.
In fact, I talked about three methods. You see, plastic The plastic bag, plastic mostly take minimum of few hundred years to degrade. That is why, the conventional techniques which are used or the non-conventional techniques which I have talked about, they offer a solution to that. Because of this problem, that it doesn't degrade by itself in a short period.
But sir, it requires excessive amount of energy. So
Actually, you see, if you look at different techniques, you are right when you want to, reuse it by melting it. So when you melt it and pressurize it, you need energy, right?
yes,
But
sir.
there are, yeah, so you do need energy in most of the reprocessing. But in some cases, when you are burning it or pyrolysis, you get a net more energy out of it than you put in, right? You utilize the heat content of the plastic itself. It is a hydrocarbon. But you are right. When you are recycling it, you are putting energy into it. You want to break it, you put energy into it. You have to melt it, you have to heat it up. You have to pressurize through a mold, you have to put energy into it. All that is true. But again, you get a value added product which more than compensates you financially
Okay.
for the
Sir,
energy you put in.
my last question to you is there any alternative that replace the plastic?
Uh, you see, there are three material classes. There is metals, there is ceramics, and then there is polymers or plastics. Plastics, it has invaded so much of our life. Everything, anything you pick up, it will have some plastic in it. So replacing completely plastic may not be the right option. In my view, right option is making functionalized plastics which are degradable, tunable and degradable.
Yes, sir.
It may be degradable in 5 years or it may be degradable in 5 days. The plastic sutures we use in human bodies, the degradable ones, after a few days they will just melt, turn into lactic acid and go away. So my personal opinion is that degradability has to be studied in a much more efficient and forceful way. But I
Okay.
don't think we can replace all plastic by some new wonder material.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome.
Any other question from participants? Hello? Hello?
Hello, Dr. Arya.
Yeah, I am just asking the participant for the
Right.
questions actually. So, any other question from participants? Sir, actually, I also have one question.
Right.
Uh, these days, people are working some this biodegradable plastic something. So, how long means how much are we successful in this field actually?
We are successful, uh, but main concern is the high price compared to conventional alternatives. The biodegradable plastic alternatives, they are still not priced. They are still priced a number of times the price of conventional plastic component being used at present. But having said that, you see, I talked about polylactic acid. Now
Hmm.
there are plants producing polylactic acid in Japan, Canada, USA. maybe some other places also, which are, you know, capacity is billion kgs per year, in billions of kgs per year. So naturally that PLA granules are going to be put in some other, you know, shape, made articles out of them, and they are going to be completely degradable, biodegradable. So it is coming, but I feel that it should come at a much more faster pace than it is coming right now.
So what are the major constraints in this biodegradable polymer?
Major constraint is, you know, research money.
Okay.
The the uh, the amount of research money and effort which is required is not being put in, which I think is a major problem. But you see, Dr. Arayos, one thing is there. Most of the plastic which are used, which are non-biodegradable, they have their origin in petroleum, petrochemicals.
Right, right.
So they are going to become expensive over time, and like people say, finally they are going to dry up.
Okay.
So we do need biodegradable polymers which are made from sources other than petroleum. For example, PLA can be made from starch, corn, which is grown in the fields.
Hmm.
So it will happen eventually, but no, it is not happening at a pace I would have been happy with. हो तो रहा है, होगा भी finally. But I don't know, petrochemical lobby is strong, very strong, or what is the reason, but funding is not that much as should be in the degradable plastic research.
But sometime what I think actually, uh,